that one glorious word represents more than just the geography between the Sabine and the Rio Grande. It represents a unique idea and way of life. A life of rugged individualism, proud self-reliance, gritty toughness, and fierce independence. That is what made Texas, and that is what will save her again. Howdy, folks. Sam Houston here. I want to thank you for tuning into the Feed Bandit podcast. Feed Bandit is the Texas first outdoors brand built by rabid Texans, for rabid Texans, and all those who aim to be one someday. We unapologetically promote the ideals that shape our Texas pride and Texas first patriotism through our love of hunting, the outdoors, and the gear and apparel we create. Texas, above all else, preserve the tradition, protect the legacy. Check us out at feedbandit.com. And to repeat that great rallying cry from a former colleague of mine, liberty or death. Now, enough of my talking. Here are a couple of bandits that love Texas as much as I do. Enjoy.
Well, howdy, friend. Welcome back to the Feed Bandit podcast. Jimmy L. Bandido back with you. And we're going to continue our review of the 301 Essential Skills for Deer Hunting. These come out of the Total Deer Hunter Manual. So I'm going to continue figuring out what these things are. We've started off with some review of some basics. Let's get into a couple more of the skills. I will say before we start, if you have not listened to the podcast called The New 300 and Texas First Outdoors, I would highly appreciate it if you did. I'd really say this is one where it explains what we mean by Texas First Outdoors and where we're wanting to go with blending our love of the outdoors with our love of Texas. So hopefully that'll help clear up any misunderstanding, or not even misunderstandings, just wonder, starry-eyed wonder what all that means. So that's out there. And then, let's go forward. We got the skill number 4 here. It's called Make the Call. And let's just jump right into this. It just says, you can rattle. You can smash a pair of shed or synthetic antlers together to sound like two bucks fighting, and it attracts other deer. And you can call, you can mimic deer vocalization, such as grunts and bleats. This is to great effect in conjunction with all the methods that we talked about in the podcast before about how to hunt, or the methods of hunting deer. Combine all these things together, and you can grab some good success. Stand hunters routinely rattle to draw a buck near, and then grunt to stop him for a shot, for example. Or you can just kind of be like, "Hey," kind of yell at him or something, just to kind of startle him real fast while you have your gun up and ready to go. A tracker may track close to a bedded buck and then make a doe bleat to draw him out. So there's another idea, if you know a buck's bedded down somewhere, use a doe bleat and see what happens. That was skill number 4. I will say, to augment the idea of rattling, we do have 2, or actually 3 podcasts out there called Rattling Strategies that work anywhere. Check those out. You can listen to those 3 in a row and really get a good kind of foundation on deer rattling for deer. And those will go into a lot more detail. Let's see, the skill number 5, break down your deer season. So let's learn all about the season. Deer behavior is dynamic. Because your hunting strategy should be informed by what the animals are doing, it's helpful to break the season down into the following behavioral phases. The early season, which is typically late August to early October. Deer behavior. Deer typically bed for most of the day, it's really hot, and then travel to a major food source, such as crop field, oak flat, apple orchard, etc., before dark to feed. After feeding again in the early morning, they travel back to their beds. So what are some top tactics, if you're out there, especially in Texas with your bow? Because early season deer movement is some of the most predictable of the season, stand hunting rules now. It's simple. Set up overlooking a travel route near a feeding area to ambush deer coming to feed in the late afternoon. Set up closer to the bedding area in the morning. So there you go. So what about the October lull? Early to mid-October. So the deer behavior is as acorns rain down and fruit hangs lower on the branches. Deer don't need to expose themselves in open crop fields and food plots to fill up. This decreased visibility is so commonly mistaken for a drop in activity that hunters commonly describe it as the October lull. But studies show that deer activity actually increases now. You just need to hunt smarter. And the top tactics for this: stand hunting still works, but if you're not seeing deer, you need to abandon those field edge spots and set up in the woods, near hard or soft mast. All right, now how about the pre-rut? Typically late October, early November. So the behavior here is the breeding ritual begins. Rubs and scrapes are popping up all over. Bucks start actively seeking and chasing does. The woods are suddenly bustling with activity. What are the top tactics for hunting the pre-rut? Well, stand hunting is hot again. As green foliage dies, spotting deer for both still hunting and stalking becomes easier too. And I gotta say, as I'm recording this, we're transitioning from the pre-rut into the rut down here where I live in Coleman County. And my God, the bucks are chasing deer so much through the city of New Braunfels. I mean, it's crazy. They don't even care about cars. I almost hit one the other day. I've seen several almost get hit. And then this is about the time we start seeing increased bodies on the side of the road because of the chase. And okay, let's talk about the rut. So early to mid-November, which is what we're in right now. The behavior, well, the spike in activity continues as actual breeding begins, but it soon comes to an abrupt halt as the majority of does come into estrus and bucks are busy tending them. Hunters describe this period as the lockdown. What are the top tactics for hunting the rut? Well, stand and still hunting remain good at first, but during the lockdown, many hunters turn to spot and stalk and driving. Tracking can be good if there's snow. Remember, all these tactics we talked about in the podcast previous to this one, or the Whitetail Strategies podcast previous to this one, where we got into the detail of the different methods of hunting. Let's talk about hunting the post-rut, late November to early December. What's the behavior? Well, bucks are wiped out from chasing and fighting. Does are tired of being chased. Both are on the edge from hunting pressure. Most deer return to a bed to feed pattern, but the biggest bucks are still looking for late cycling does. What are the top tactics for hunting the post-rut? Well, whatever it takes. Stand hunting can be good near a strong food source, but this is prime time for driving and for tracking. So maybe consider getting out of the stand if you're not seeing anything where your deer blind is. What about late season? Well, mid-December to the end of the season. What's the behavior? Well, in parts of the South, the rut is just beginning, but elsewhere, it's all about two things. Number one, food, because deer need to recover and prepare for the worst of winter. And two, the second rut, which yearling does and fawns commonly come into estrus a month later than adult does. So how do you hunt the late season? Well, when temperatures plummet, deer need to feed heavily. It's hard to beat a stand overlooking a good food source now. That said, the relative lack of cover facilitates still hunting and driving, and it remains prime time for tracking down a big buck. So really, all in all, there's really no massive shift in your tactic throughout the deer season, truly. You just got to be aware. The key is being aware of what maybe that's going on with the deer and how that may affect timing. And you maybe certain periods you got to be a little more patient, So if you know that, and you know that you got to maybe sit longer, or whatever, it's better to have a better idea at that than getting really frustrated. Good stuff to teach a young hunter for sure. If you're not really seeing anything or whatnot. Okay, well that was number 5. Let's get to number 6. Gear up for deer. All right. Let's learn what kind of gear you might want while we're out there. You can hunt deer with only a rifle, a cartridge, some clothes, and a pair of boots. But you will do better and have an easier time of it if you also have at minimum these accessories. Well, let's see what they are. Binoculars. To see deer before they see you. Well, yes, of course. Get the best model you can afford, and I totally agree with that. Clearest, best, and longest. A 10x42 binocular is best for open country. A light, compact 6x32 is perfect for tracking or still hunting in big woods. An 8x42 is an excellent all-purpose choice for deer hunting. A tree stand. Well, you got to get you above the deer's line of sight and your stink above its nose. Neither means you won't get busted, but both can help. The more tree stands you have, the better. If you own just one, get a climbing stand, which allows you to hunt many different spots. And they got deer blinds now. Assuming, let's say you're a rifle hunter, they got some really good deer blinds now to where you can sit in those things and, you could literally listen to the radio, watch TV, whatever, even with the window open, and the deer can't hear you or smell you. We interviewed way back on the podcast the man who owns tank blinds here in Texas, and those tank blinds are just amazing. The insulation they give you, they're actually warmer too. They can be air conditioned with like a swamp cooler type mechanism. But no, you can talk normal to your hunting buddy while you're in there with a deer right below you, and they won't be able to hear you. It's really, really amazing, actually. There's some of those down at Rancho Bandido, and they're really fun to sit in. So yeah, get a good tree stand or deer blind for sure. Deer calls. To lure deer into shooting range or stop moving deer for a standing shot. At the least, you should have a variable grunt call, a bleat call, instead of rattling antlers. I agree. I keep all those in my bag. Three compasses. Wow. As Maine guide and friend Randy Flannery says, Maine as in the state, a GPS is powered by batteries. The Earth's magnetic field is powered by God. Why 3? Well, if one breaks, which do you trust? Well, that's true. I'd call that redundancy. Let's see, rope. If you're only going to carry one rope, make it 25 feet long of 3/8 inch braided poly rope. This is the most versatile for deer hunting. Not too thick for pulling up a tree stand, gun, or bow, and not too thin for dragging out a buck. Okay. Knife. A full tang drop point with a fixed 2.5 inch to 4 inch blade and wood or bone handle is a traditional choice. Buck knife. It's what I carry. That said, a fodder with a good saw blade and extra tools is also handy. Totally. A folding saw and clippers. To clear shooting lanes, build a natural blind, quarter a bone out of a buck in the backwoods, cut a limb for a drag handle, and on and on and on. Yeah, those clippers and folding saws are great. Also for turkey hunting. Keep those on you. 2 headlamps. Why headlamps? Because you're carrying too much of the other gear to have hands free to hold a flashlight. Why 2? Because the first one is guaranteed to crap out at the very moment you need it most. Well, that's that idea of multiple redundancies again right there. A day or fanny pack. You need something to carry all this stuff. Well, I use a backpack. That's the most convenient, I think. You can put a lot of stuff in there. And that's really, I guess that's, what else are the basics gear that I have in my backpack? Oh, toilet paper. You got to have toilet paper. Because you never know when nature will call. And believe you me, I've been very happy that I've had a roll of toilet paper, at times in the past, for sure. Earplugs. Keep your earplugs in your bag. You'll need those. Let's see, I'm going mentally through my bag here. We talked about calls. Oh, predator calls, for sure. You got to have a predator call in there because, okay, let's say you get skunked. It's in the evening, and you're like, what is going on? And all of a sudden you hear coyotes or something. You got to have some sort of predator call to give you something to take. So that's fun to do. Let's see. Maybe a backup cell phone battery, a charger. That would be nice. If you're out there and your phone's starting to die or whatever, it's always safe to have a way to charge it. You can keep that in there. I got one of those. Of course, binoculars. We talked about that. Getting the best ones you could find. I'd actually need to buy a new pair of binoculars now that I think about it. Let's see. What else? Water bottle. Of course, you got to take a bottle of water or something, like that. I mean, always important to have some water with you because you never know. I'm sure there's something I'm missing, but I mean, that's about it, really. You get all those things down, you're going to survive and have a comfortable sit for 99% of the time. But yeah, use a backpack. That's what I'd recommend. Always easier that way. All right, well, I'm going to leave y'all with those skills on this one, and we'll come back for more. So remember, that was take some rattling antlers and some calls. That just makes it all more fun. And the different parts of the deer season, what the deer are doing. It's always good to kind of study up on that so that and you're aware, and it gives you more patience while you're sitting out there. So confidence as well when have a good idea of what the deer are doing. And then just make sure you got the proper gear, of course. You don't want to be sitting out there and all of a sudden be like, oh, crap, I don't have binoculars. It's like, God, I can't tell if I can shoot that buck or not. Get a good pair of binoculars so you can see. You don't want to be looking through your scope, the whole time. It's much better to look through your binoculars. But get the other stuff too. Knife, calls, headlamps, stuff like that. All right. Well, thank you so much for listening. I hope you're enjoying this series, this Whitetail Strategy series, going through this. Man, we have a lot more to go. That's only 6. We have 295 more skills to go. So hang in there. We're going to learn together. All right. Again, thank you so much for listening. Oh, let us know what you think about this or anything else. Feedback, good, bad, or ugly, indifferent. Email us at howdy@feedbandit.com and let us know how your season's going. Send us a photo of your trophy. We'd love to see it. All right. Well, we'll catch you on the next one. And as we always say here on the Feed Bandit podcast, remember Texas first, preserve the traditions, protect the legacy. And a good way to do that, or one step towards doing that, is always supporting your local feed store. Y'all take care.
Well, I hope the Bandits gave you an interesting episode that either entertained or educated you. Or better yet, both. Hell, I told them this podcasting thing looks harder to do than defeating Santa Ana. So if you would, please help them out by sharing it with all your like-minded friends to help the Bandits get the word out. And don't forget to check us out at feedbandit.com and grab some gear and apparel to support the cause of Texas. Remember, Texas, above all else, preserve the tradition, protect the legacy. Finally, as I said some time ago on the eve of the great battle, and I vigorously repeat here again, be men. Be free men, that your children may bless their father's name. Well, fellow bandit, until next time.